Students, this week I read an interesting story. So 2 weeks ago, one of the students asked me about the petrodollar. We talked about the role of the US dollar in world trade. We know, why is the US dollar important for China? Why is the US dollar, yes?
Because that's more value. It increases their forex. It increases their forex.
Okay, how?
Because they have dollars, they save it.
They have dollars, they save, they invest in dollars, right? The government invests in dollars. They have about 1 trillion US dollars. Chinese government, yeah. Chinese government has about 1 trillion US dollars. So the US dollar, value of the US dollar is very important for China. Then people ask me, if the US owes so much money, the US has debt, the US has trade deficit, why is the dollar valuable? And one of the reasons is because the world uses US dollars for business. And almost all commodities are priced in US dollars. So one of the students asked me about petrodollar. So today I'm going to talk about this. So China now has something called the Petro Yuan. So last week there were some news headlines. Death of the US dollar. Washington may be speeding up the death of the dollar. Chinese launches Petro Yuan to challenge the greenback's dominance. China prepares to deal the death blow to the dollar. I like this one the best. This could be a movie title. Chuck Norris. Alright, so the Petro Yuan. Petro Yuan is meant to provide an alternative to the petrodollar. The petrodollar basically means in the world, oil is priced in US dollars. It's exchanged for US dollars, and the profits that are earned from US dollars are referred to as petrodollars. And this has been since 1970. The world has basically been using dollars for petroleum. So China now wants to be able to use yuan to buy petroleum. Commodities are generally priced in US dollars. When I say commodities, what does that mean? What sorts of things? Yes?
It's like rice, corn, soybeans, it's agricultural products.
Not just agricultural, but you're right. Agricultural, but what else?
It's tangible products.
It means these are basically unfinished products.
It's raw materials.
What's it?
Raw materials.
Raw materials, right? If I buy steel, well, not steel, because actually steel is processed. Iron that comes from the earth.
Okay.
If I buy iron, I buy from your country, or it looks the same. When I buy shoes, right, I care. Is it from Italy? Is it from Botswana? Right? I care when I buy shoes, when I buy a finished product. But when I buy a commodity, I don't care where it comes from. It all looks the same. These products are priced in US dollars. Can anybody guess why? Why do we price commodities in US dollars?
Because they are always stable.
Mm-hmm. Dollar is always stable.
No, the commodities.
Oh, the commodity is always stable. Not the price. The price of commodities changes every minute, like the stock market. So let's think about the examples we've been talking about today. We talked about what continent today? Africa. Okay, so China is buying, example, iron from, I don't know, Botswana. I don't know if Botswana has iron. I'm just making that up. China is buying iron from Botswana. Botswana has a currency. China has a currency. Botswana currency value is constantly changing. Chinese currency is constantly changing. And the price of iron constantly changing. With too many things moving. So how can we stabilize? Right, we use a common money, a common price. So the price of the iron will always be in US dollars. Now, if Botswana buys something from China, does China really want a bunch of Botswana currency? I actually don't even know what the name of the currency is in Botswana. Okay, so China doesn't want that. Does Botswana want a bunch of Chinese yuan? Maybe not. Maybe not. Okay, so what do? I'll price my goods in US dollars, you're going to pay me in US dollars, or I'll pay you in US dollars when I buy from you. Okay, go ahead.
it's very interesting for USA to have a US dollar, but if France and China are in transaction, it's not interesting for France and China to have US dollar.
Well,
Why US?
because everyone can accept US dollar, right? Everybody can accept US dollar. Everyone in the world knows, you know exactly your exchange rate to US dollars, right? You always know the euro to the dollar, you know. The banks in Europe are happy to exchange. If you want euros, you can take US dollars and exchange, right? But if you're in a bank in France and you have currency from Botswana,
Yes, but no Botswana, but euro or yuan.
well, the problem with euro, yeah. So we could conduct business in Europe. Do you want to conduct business in yuan? Do you want to receive millions of yuan in France? China's probably okay to receive millions of euro, but Europe doesn't want to receive millions of yuan. So we've all agreed we're just going to use the dollar for now. But the euro is growing. Okay, euro is growing. Yuan has other problems. We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, much of the power and internationalization of the U.S. dollar comes from the fact that commodities, I wrote currency, should be commodities, particularly oil, is priced in the U.S. dollar. Oil is essentially the most expensive thing on the planet. Yes, gold costs more than oil, but we don't use gold every day. Maybe you do. I don't. Professors do not have gold. But we buy oil, right? Okay, everybody buys oil. Everybody doesn't buy gold, right? Okay, so the fact that dollars are used for oil helps the U.S. dollar to stay valuable. Countries which are not allies of the United States have felt resentment at being forced to use dollars to conduct international business and have sought various ways to undermine the dollar's dominance. There are some countries who, believe it or not, there's some countries who don't like the United States. Okay, could you tell me an example? What's a country who doesn't like the United States? Russia. The U.S. do not like each other very much, right? Iran. North Korea, very good. North Korea, for example, North Korea only does business in euros. Yeah, as of maybe 5 or 10 years ago, North Korea made a rule, no more dollars, only euros. Okay, they don't like the United States, they don't want to use dollars. Russia has tried many times, in many ways, to stop using US dollars. But what is the problem? Do you want rubles? No. This is the problem. Do you want rubles? No. Okay, but they keep trying. They found different ways to avoid using dollars. What's another country that hates? Somebody said Iran. Iran's a very good. Iran has two problems. Iran hates the United States, and the U.S. has trade sanctions, right? Restrictions on Iran. Iran basically is almost not allowed to use U.S. dollars. And we're going to talk about Iran in a minute. Another country. What's that? Pakistan, very interesting. Pakistan, long-term friend and ally of the United States. But
India.
yep. So the U.S. cut economic, military aid to Pakistan. China is willing to give a lot of aid to Pakistan. So the U.S. now leaning more towards India, China moving more towards Pakistan. Okay. Also, at this point in time, Pakistan is not fully in control of Pakistan's international business. China is making a lot of those decisions. But you're right, that's a good example. Can you think of one country, I don't know if you know this, in the Americas, there's a country that hates the United States. Yeah, in South America.
Bolivia.
Brazil, we have a very strange, not a good relationship, but which country? There's one that actually hates us. They were almost communist.
Bolivia.
Not Venezuela. So Venezuela is another one that they don't want to use U.S. dollars. So they're all looking for ways to get away from that. Yep, there's an economic crisis in Venezuela, hyperinflation. So Iraq, Iraq before the war, Iraq and the U.S. had problems, right? So in 2000, Iraq was under an embargo from the United States, and they demanded. They said that they wanted to receive payment in euros instead of U.S. dollars. The UN estimated that changing from dollars to euros cost Iraq $270 million. And yet they agreed to do it because they just did not want to use U.S. dollars. And Iraq at that time said the dollar is the currency of an enemy state. Okay, so there's some countries that do not want to use dollars. Libya, right? U.S. and Libya, best friends. Okay. Muammar Gaddafi, the previous leader of Libya, he was trying to create an African currency that was going to be backed by gold, a gold-backed African currency, and the idea was to stop using dollars. Maybe. I'm sure. He committed suicide. 2012, China's largest oil supplier, Iran, began accepting yuan for oil. 2016, Iran is demanding euros. It's really interesting. So now Iran is saying everybody has to pay them in euros except China can pay them in yuan. So experts speculate that if the U.S. continues sanctions on Iran, this will mean that they will open more for China and they will accept more yuan from China. So this is why these economic relationships are very, very, very complicated. Sometimes you see the U.S. will help a country. Why did they help them? That's a bad guy. Yeah, but if we don't help them, then they're going to go with Russia, or they're going to go with China, or they're going to go with somebody else, right? It's a very complicated relationship. So if the U.S. tightens the restrictions on Iran, then this could be good for the yuan. The EU supports the U.S. sanction because of the nuclear program in Iran. It's very complicated. So EU and U.S. said, hey, Iran is building nuclear weapons, maybe, and it's against the rules. We will have a sanction against them for security reasons. And then we disallow them from using dollars, and then that means they're going to increase their use of the yuan. It's a very complicated situation. 2017, China established a means to circumvent the dollar. China invented this very clever system where they were able to trade with Russia that I don't even fully understand how this works, but they had a clearing system where they were able to clear two currencies simultaneously. The problem is the ruble is moving and the yuan is moving. So if we agree on a price right now, 3 minutes from now, already the values of the currencies have changed. So they found a way that they were able to clear two currencies simultaneously. It was pretty clever. So now China wants to use this system in the Belt and Road. So remember the Belt and Road? Does anybody remember how many countries the Belt and Road is going to?
7.
Oh, much more than 7. More than 20. Yeah, you said? Yeah, oh, 60. About 60 countries. Okay. It's about 60 countries, okay, and most of them have their own currency. So if China can figure out a way to use this system for all those countries, that's huge, right? All that GDP from the Belt and Road will be passing through yuan instead of US dollars. What's up?
What is a peace-payment?
This payment, where is it? Payment versus payment. So it's where they can process two currencies at exactly the same time. So basically what they were able to do was, China was using yuan, Russia was using rubles, and somehow they created a system where they could clear them at exactly the same time. Because remember, the problem is the yuan is moving and the ruble is moving, and the price of the commodity is moving, right? They found a way to deal with that.
They already found a way?
Yep. Yep, they've already done it with Russia. So they've already done this with Russia, and now they might want to do it the whole Belt and Road.
Do you know if there is like a blockchain system to all of this?
I'm going to guess there was not because they already developed this in 2017,
Okay.
but it's possible this might be an application of blockchain later, right? This might be one of the applications of, so some of you, I noticed some of you are following me on LinkedIn now. Some of you are following me on LinkedIn, so I write a lot about Bitcoin. I'm very much against Bitcoin, so you can see all my papers, I'm against Bitcoin.
Again,
Oh, of course I'm against it. It's crazy. It's craziness. But having said that, blockchain has a lot of applications, and this might be one of them. So, okay, I asked you to guess the countries that don't like the U.S. You were able to guess. You said Russia and Iraq and Iran. Indonesia, the U.S. does not have a bad relationship with Indonesia, but Indonesia now is becoming closer friends with China because of
Roma.
the Belt and Road. Okay, Indonesia is part of Southeast Asia, part of ASEAN, right? And so China is investing a lot of money in Indonesia. They're building railroads and things like that. So all these economic relationships, you know, we don't want to talk about war when we talk about economics. We don't want to talk about religion when we talk about economics. But these relationships become very complicated, and it involves everything. Indonesia, predominant religion is Islam. Malaysia, also Islam. Oil-producing nations, Islam. U.S. relationship with those oil-producing nations is often bad. So although our relationship with Indonesia is good, but there might be, for example, there was a movement to make a currency for the Islamic countries, like an Islamic currency, and that would have applied to Indonesia and Malaysia as well. Okay, so even if Indonesia says, hey, U.S., we like you, but we're going to side with these other guys for other reasons. So we need to know, as economists, we need to know everything. We need to know a little bit about religion, we need to know about race, we need to know about language, we need to know about a lot of things. 2018, the U.S. has suspended $900 million in security aid to Pakistan. Okay, so the U.S. was giving security aid to Pakistan, military aid to Pakistan. The U.S. cut the aid because they said that Pakistan was not helping us sufficiently in fighting Al-Qaeda or ISIS or these other organizations. This is the type of decision that Donald Trump will make based on, strictly on money. I paid you to do something, you didn't do it, now I'm not going to pay you. Donald Trump is very simple. For political scientists, political economists, it's much more complicated. Because now I'd say, okay, you took this $900 million away from Pakistan, now Pakistan, A, is angry at you, and B, they still need $900 million, and who will give it to them? Okay, so that's the issue. Consequently, the Central Bank of Pakistan has approved doing business using the yuan with China. Okay, what is the big project in Pakistan? Do you remember? What is the name of the big project? Okay, so the Belt and Road, but the part that goes in Pakistan, what's it called?
Waterfront.
Very good. CPEC. CPEC. China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Okay, and it's expected to cost $50 billion or more, and that might be paid in yuan rather than US dollars. So Petro Yuan, which was first announced in 2017. Apart from strengthening the yuan, China as the world's, so China is the world's largest importer of oil. China said, and I think China is right, China said, hey. China said they are the largest customer, and the customer should get to determine what currency the customer uses. And China has a very valid point. So China created oil futures, which are priced in yuan. Futures basically means next year, I know I'm going to need to buy oil, but I don't know what the price will be next year. And so I'll say to the oil producing country, hey, you guarantee me this price, let's say $50 a barrel, and I'll sign an agreement today that 1 year from now, I will buy that oil from you for $50 a barrel. If at that time, oil is $60 a barrel, well, I just came out ahead by 10. And if at that time, oil is $45 a barrel, well, then you came out ahead. And this is what an oil's future is. And China is doing oil's futures, which are denominated in yuan. And these are sold on the Shanghai and Hong Kong foreign exchange markets. The BRICS countries have expressed their support for the Petro Yuan. And remember, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. And you know that Russia and China are two countries where the U.S. has not always the best relations. And then another country who said that they're on board with this is Venezuela. They are a major oil-producing nation. Venezuela hates the United States and is trying to avoid using the dollar as much as possible. Apart from China's allies, most of the countries in the world are skeptical. Apart from China's allies and countries that just absolutely hate the United States, most countries are skeptical about using the yuan as an international currency. And this is because they feel that the value of the currency is not necessarily set by the market and that the government has too much control over the value of the currency. CNBC went so far as saying the yuan is not yet fully convertible, is fixed daily, prone to intervention, and subject to capital controls. Some see the Petro Yuan as an attempt by China to somehow take down the dollar, destroy the dollar. But this doesn't really make sense to me because China is sitting on $1.1 trillion of U.S. capital reserves, right? China has the largest foreign capital reserves in the world, and at least a third of that is in U.S. dollars. China does not want to see those dollars crash. So for the time being anyway, it seems the Petro Yuan is just one more step in China trying to internationalize their currency. It's a point of pride, it's a point of national pride, it's a point of economics, that they want their currency to be strong and to be recognized in the world alongside with the dollar and the euro. With time, if the Petro Yuan is adopted and the yuan is used along the BRI, along the Belt and Road Initiative, or used for other commodity trades and for petroleum and from other countries, then of course the yuan can overtake the dollar in importance. But that's a long way off. Right now, I think this is a first step. And we also don't know how many countries or how many companies will even adopt this new yuan-denominated petrol future. And that's the Petro Yuan. Originally written as a short course for foreign university students visiting China, this book is a must-read for anyone trying to make sense of the world's second largest economy. From the formation of the People's Republic of China in 1949, to the economic transformation to socialism with Chinese characteristics under Deng Xiaoping, the Chinese economy continues to grow and develop under the current leadership of President Xi Jinping, whose 13th five-year plan and Belt and Road Initiative seek to forever change the global economic order. Read A Short Course on the Chinese Economy by Dr. Antonio Graceffo, available from Amazon.com in both Kindle and paperback.